All right, guys. The gate was 10.6 million Canadian, basically $8 million US. Highest grossing event in the arena history, highest grossing arena event in Canada. And it was 18,559 people sold out. Jasmine and Jillian both won Performance of the Night, and Fight of the Night was Strickland Duplessis. They all won $50,000.
Nice. We've got a new champion, Hendrick's Duplessis. I'm curious, did you have him winning that fight? It was a very close fight, and did you have him on the scorecards winning?
It's funny. We were just looking at how the media had scored it, and right down the middle, I had it 2-2 going into the last round, and I thought Strickland won the last round. Guys who were sitting at the same table had it the other way, and it was a close fight. I thought Strickland looked great in the first 2 rounds. I mean, the jab was fucking beautiful. You don't see jabs like that in MMA. And the jabs did what they're supposed to do. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. He slowed down in the 3rd and 4th. Duplessis kept coming forward, then started mixing up takedowns and punches. And I had it even going to the 5th round. I'm like, this is the round, see who wants it. And they both started to turn it up a little bit. It's one of those tight fights. But I'm also one of these guys, I believe you have to take it from the champion. So,
Sean Strickland's an interesting thing, right? Like, some of the things he says piss a lot of people off. I'm sure it can't be great for sponsors, but clearly this week he has become a massive star for the UFC. So with that in mind, do you want to give him an immediate rematch because it was such a close fight, or what do you want to do with Sean next?
I don't know. I mean, eventually these two are going to end up fighting again, I'm sure. But we're not thinking about an immediate rematch right now.
Okay. Dricus did call for Israel Adesanya. I know that everyone asks you about the UFC 300 main event every day at this point, I'm sure. But is that something that could potentially happen?
I'll have UFC's 300's main event for you soon.
Give us a hint.
Huh?
Give me a hint.
No.
Okay. New champion for the women's bantamweight division. Raquel got the job done tonight. What did you think of their fight?
Yeah, I've been close to Raquel for a long time, probably 10 years. And one of the things there's many things I love about Raquel. One of the things that drives me crazy about Raquel is she does not listen to her corner ever. She literally never listens to her corner. It's amazing. She keeps winning. You stay in the middle of that octagon and you throw. You let your hands go. You don't get into the clinch with Naira. It's just. But she won. I'm happy for her. She's been at this for a long time. She's had a lot of ups and downs. Stuck it out, and she's a world champion now.
You mentioned, you said before, like, one of the best things about your job is getting to put the belt around people's waists when they have been fighting for it for a long time. With her, she's been doing this forever. Is it just a nice thing?
Yeah, and we're super close. So, yeah, to see her win a world title and, it's awesome.
2 more for me. Duplessis, obviously South African. I know UFC Africa is something you've wanted to do forever. Could he be the guy that takes you there?
Absolutely, positively can be the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last one outside tonight's event, there was reports that the Saudi event's been pushed back to June. I'm curious if that's true. And what about the reports where it was because of a disagreement over the card?
Total bullshit. That's a straight out fucking lie. I don't know who started it or how it started, but not one fight was announced to Saudi. Not one fight was announced to him. I called and asked to push the card back. Yeah, because we had a couple of guys that we want on the card, and they weren't ready. So, listen, you know how we are. We want to deliver. And if we're going to Saudi Arabia at the level that these guys do things, and it's a fight night, but we want to make it the best fight night we've ever done. So, anybody who came out and said it was because the card wasn't good is a fucking liar.
Right here. What did you make of the fight between Neil and Mike Malott? Because Mike he kind of was viewed as this next star from Canada, and then, he ran into Neil Magny late in that 3rd round. What did you make of that performance in there?
Yeah, listen, Neil Magny is the all-time greatest spoiler. That guy, don't ever think you're just going to go in and run over Neil Magny. And tonight he proved it again. He got destroyed for 2.5 rounds. And then turned it around, came back, and pulled out the win.
A similar question about Masvidal. He another win. He kind of pushed back on the label the fans gave him as a decision maker. Like, he only wins decisions. He doesn't think that's a fair assessment because he's winning dominantly. What did you make of his performance and his possibility of fighting for the title soon?
So what did he say? He's bummed out because people call
Well,
him
he's not
decision
bummed,
guy?
but he says fans constantly call like they criticize him because he's only winning decisions and not going out there and melting people.
Yeah. Well, not everybody's a knockout or submission artist. It happens, but the thing is about Neil, I don't think that Neil's any. Look.
Talking about Masvidal, Evoilev against Arnold Allen, that fight.
Oh! I thought you were talking about Neil Magny. All right. Yeah. I mean, what's his win streak like? He's on.
I think he's like 18, 19.
Yeah, 18 or 19, and yeah, that place sucked the wind right out of that fight sucked the wind right out of the arena tonight. So it might bum him out, but he's got to deal with it. Yeah, that was the least fun fight anybody's ever seen. So he doesn't have much to complain about. You know who lost that fight? The fans. Yeah. So yeah, he doesn't have much to bitch about on that one.
I don't know if you were in the arena yet or not, but did you see the Sean Woodson, Charles Jourdain decision at the end of the confusion? Have you seen anything like that before?
No. What was that, Buff?
I just think it was a little loud in there, so no one could really hear the scorecards or who had won. Charles celebrated even though he won, and Sean Woodson shook his.
So it wasn't read wrong. People just didn't hear it. Yeah. They heard it wrong.
It was read correctly, but no one could really hear it.
I was going to say that's a very rare Buffer mess up. Buffer doesn't mess up much ever. Probably counting on one hand in his entire career. So yeah, weird.
The UFC on Instagram posted something about India, UFC India. Is there anything plans for an event in India?
Eric in here?
We created an Instagram account for India.
We created an Instagram account for India.
And last one for me, one last thing on the Saudi card. The people that were putting on that show said that they had requested Conor headline that card. Is that even a possibility?
No.
Hey, Dana, over here.
But I love it, though. You know what the thing is with Saudi Arabia? These guys are like, yeah, bring us the best you got, and we'll pay for it, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. Listen, for us, it's not about the money or any of that stuff. We always want to put on the best possible card that we can. We've been that way since day one. And when you're going to a place like Saudi Arabia that does it at a level that they do it, we want to deliver.
Dana, just your thoughts on Jasmine Jasvidius on the undercard. She had to fight up a weight class after her opponent. It seemed like she couldn't make the weight, and she goes out there and gets a really dominant performance, a big strike differential. Just what did you think of the way she handled things this week and going out there and getting the win?
Yeah, so I talked to her after the fight, and she was like, I'm still pissed off about this whole thing, and she comes in overweight, and she does this and that. Yeah, I mean, what was the it was like 288 to 4. Yeah. It's a pretty good performance, yeah.
And it looked like, once again, Toronto really, showing up here for the card the whole week. Everyone was buzzing. You heard the crowd here tonight. Any update on any potential Canadian dates for the rest of the year?
Canada has been very good to us for many, many years. I love this place, and yes, the answer is yes. We'll be coming up here from Toronto to Vancouver. We're going to cover the entire country and get back to, business as usual as it was back in the day with Canadian fights.
Is it possible you could go back to Vancouver again this year? You've gone there a lot, since COVID, and it seems like it's always a good crowd and a good turnout.
Yeah, I mean, I could see us going all over the country, not just Vancouver and Toronto.
And just one more thing on the undercard, Jimmy Flick got a pretty big win here tonight. His opponent missed weight, gets the win. His contract is run up. Is he someone you're looking to maybe re-sign it for the flyweight division?
Absolutely.
Dana, if I get you over here, Sean Strickland, the story of the week, maybe the story of the last year, 14 months. There was a bit of a scuffle earlier this week. Some comments he made, some offensive comments, caused some public backlash. But I know you're not in the policy of policing your fighter's speech. But was there any discussion with UFC, ESPN, Bud Light, any sponsors about how to kind of handle this situation?
Zero.
At the same time, from the people in Toronto, from the fans, he received maybe one of the loudest reactions I've ever seen live. It was almost like Conor McGregor-esque. What's your impression of his star power right now? Like, does he always have to be fighting in front of crowds now? Can he still go to the UFC Apex? How do you view his drawing power?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you heard the gate and all that stuff. That's a combination of UFC coming back to Canada and the main event. But yeah, I mean, he can fight anywhere. I mean, any of these guys can fight anywhere. Sean Strickland was never not an issue that we thought he couldn't draw anywhere, or We don't ever really think like that. We put on the best cards that we possibly can, and you know, you roll into a city, and we do all the bells and whistles, and we hope that the fighters do their job and deliver.
Did you get the sense from this week though that he's one of your top, like your top guys now?
Yeah, he's a star for sure, and I think now the way that this stuff works is now, you know, Dreykus wins tonight, wins the title, and I've been talking about Africa, and you know, maybe we start looking at South Africa and start looking at arenas and possibly doing a fight down there this year.
Yeah, by the end, the crowd was going bananas for both guys. It was an amazing reaction. Just last one. Unfortunately for us Canadians, we had 9 Canadians fight, only 2 won, 0 for 7 for the guys. What's your impression of that? You know, the return to Toronto, to Ontario. How are you kind of feeling about, especially compared to Vancouver, where all the Canadians won? How was the energy kind of different?
I did a scrum yesterday with the media after before the weigh-ins, and this is exactly what I said. You come in, you know, to a big hometown, home country, whatever you want to call it, fight with the crowd, the pressure, the this, the that. Tonight was a big test for these guys, and here we are.
Dana here to your right. First of all, I don't know if you saw it, but the City Tavares rematch, the split decision in the end. What were your thoughts on that? The media scored it 100% for City.
Yeah, I had a lot of people blowing me up saying he got screwed in that fight. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. I didn't score it. I didn't watch it closely enough to have an opinion, but you're not the first one to tell me that.
Considering it started in the Contender Series and they're 1-1, could you envision a point where they maybe finish that out, that trilogy?
What's the question?
They started out on the
Right.
Contender Series, right? So they're 1-1
Right.
now. Would you consider doing a third fight for them down the line?
And this was the one that we were supposed to squash the whole controversy. Yeah, that didn't work.